Record.
Yep. It's
Okay,
recorded
so
now.
fair warning.
Okay,
Or-
no bad language. Right?
You
Okay,
don't have a 7-second delay? Come on.
Okay, good.
take it away, Sue.
Okay, we'll call the meeting to order at 6:04. We have 3 members present, 3 board members present. And the first order of business is to install officers, correct?
All right. Oh,
There's
got a
the
phone.
There's somebody.
Is that Sally? Or
It's Sally.
hi,
Hi,
Sally.
Hi.
We just called the meeting to order, and the first order of business is to install officers.
Oh,
Does anyone have a request to be a different officer than they are now? No, I don't hear any.
Not-
I'm
Not
fine.
I, said the fox.
Very
Bob,
nice.
you want to take an office?
Not I, said the fox.
I see.
So Sally, you're good. I'm gonna be quiet. It's not my meeting.
Well, don't.
Oh, it is, though. I'm
Hey,
supposed to do
don't you
that.
have to present the slate of officers?
wait a minute.
It's my meeting.
It is your meeting. That's
My
right.
meeting. I just realized that. Okay, so from what I'm hearing that Sue said, which I should have said, the slate of officers will remain the same unless do I ask for a motion for that? I think I'd remember.
I think you have to, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
All right. So is there a motion to keep the slate of officers the same as the previous year?
So moved.
Okay, Scott's made a motion, or I made
I'll
the motion?
second it.
Perfect. Scott made the motion and Sally
I'll
is.
second it. Okay.
Thank you, Sally.
Right.
Welcome.
Now I'm going to turn the meeting back over to Sue.
Okay. Do we have any public present? I don't see anyone.
No.
Okay. The minutes of the previous meeting?
Excuse me, I have a question. Are all board members present?
They are not. Pat
No.
Samarco is not. She did say her husband's not feeling well, so she thought she's going to try, but she may not be here. So,
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So the minutes from the previous meeting, does anyone have any additions or corrections? I don't.
No.
Okay, then I'll move that we accept the minutes from the September meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second it if no one else is.
Okay,
I'll second it.
okay.
the president's report. I have 2 questions. I don't have a report, but I have 2 questions. One is, what do all of you think about us having Confidata come to the library as a community service to shred people's excess paperwork?
I think it's a fabulous idea. One of the few evenings that I actually watched the local news, I saw that they did that at Jervis, and
Yes,
I don't see why our community members wouldn't merit that as well.
I saw it too, and I immediately thought that that would be a good thing to do. I have
Can
no
you-
idea, is there cost involved to the library?
It's fine. I can't imagine it's too much. I mean, there might be something, but now what is it called again? Something data,
Confidata.
How do you spell that?
right?
it's like-
It's short for confidential.
Conflict?
Oh,
It's like confidential, but data instead of dental.
Confidata. Okay.
Exactly.
To shred paper. That would be good for us too, because we could do ours at the same time.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that would be lovely.
Perfect. We will
Good.
look into that. Okay, that's one.
Okay, and the other question has to do with the volunteers who deal with the donations. I understand that that's been a problem, that one of the reasons we can't take donations is because we don't have the volunteers. Have they refused to do it, or have they not been? I know that Joan Day wasn't well, or she broke her hip, I guess.
She did.
And
Okay.
but there's other people.
This is a process. We do have Sean and Vince who are coming in, and we have 2 staff members, Connie and Pat. So we just started this. I mean, I don't know if it's official. Like this week, we're transitioning. We moved a big bookcase that we had in the community room, and we have it labeled so that there's the same kind of quarantine that we have with our books that are library books. So it has like 8 compartments in it. So
Right.
we are taking them in, putting them in quarantine. So we're starting.
So if people call and say, "Are you taking donations?" you can say yes now.
We should in the next few days be able to say yes if we aren't saying yes
That's
now.
all I wanted to know.
Very soon, because I'm sure they are, because they're asking us.
I know. I know. I was talking to Kathy Kulik, and right while we were discussing it, someone called and asked about donations.
Right, because every day they said, "April, what are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, it has to be safe, and then we have to have a quarantine room." We changed the way Mid York is doing things a little bit, and let's see. We were quarantining differently, all these different libraries. So what we were doing, we changed. So in my director's report, you'll see that we were meeting with the larger libraries, and we were sorting out their books and exchanging in the parking lot, and we've stopped doing that. And now that we had a quarantine room in the study, now that is the book sale quarantine room instead of some of the Mid-York book quarantine room. So that just started in the last few days, I think at the end of last week. So I don't know what we're saying to volunteers, but tomorrow I'll, send. I do know Pat took a bunch of books, she told me, and she put them and she labeled them with a quarantine date. So it's the ice is breaking up here with the volunteer donations.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
That's it for me.
I'm so happy to say, yeah, I can handle that right now.
And next is the financial report.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there isn't much to report this month. There's very little movement in August.
Right.
And there is one expense that looks like it is way overspent, but that will be adjusted in September. That is insurance,
right?
Yeah.
Yes, because it was we prepay our insurance for next year. So 11 months are in August, and then they'll be moved to this fiscal year at the end of September.
Okay. And the percentage is good.
Yeah.
Very
Even with
good.
that
I was
big number.
impressed.
Well, we didn't buy very much toilet paper. That's what I told Mark earlier. Well, it's a lot. It's a big expense for us. No,
Toilet paper, paper towels.
right. And summer reading programming
Tissues.
really wasn't very expensive. Christina was trying to keep some clay and bracelets and things like that moving, but that's nowhere near the expense of all the presenters and things. So, okay. So the abstract, the grand total of the abstract was $168,251.15. I have a copy. It's in Google Sheets, but I don't know, Shar. Do you guys want an overview of what it is? It's just your basic Ingram and paying us and those kinds of things. I should have sent you a PDF. I have it in Google Sheets, but I don't have it in a PDF. So but I could get you one if you're concerned. So we would need a motion to accept that too. Paying of the bills.
All right. Do we have a motion to accept the
So moved.
abstract?
So
I move to
Scott has a
accept the
motion.
abstract of claims.
Oh, I jumped the gun, right? Do we,
Wow.
I'm surprised.
We need to do
Which one do we do
expenditures and
first,
revenues.
Susanna? Do we do the,
Oh, right, we have to do the expenditures and revenue
Expenditures,
first.
sorry.
and then-
we
Yeah.
need that one.
All right. So we need a motion to accept the expenditures for August.
For
Okay.
August. So was that Scott, even though he
Yep, I will make
Scott.
that motion.
first and then we need a second?
I'll second.
Sue,
So, okay.
now we're
And now-
working on, there's no resolution like last time. There's the abstract of claims.
Right.
Ooh, I'm stepping on your toes, sorry.
So Scott, you want to move again?
Pardon?
I'll second this time if somebody else
You'll
moves,
second.
just
Okay,
to,
I'll move.
just to make your notes interesting.
All right, so I'll move to accept the abstract of claims dated September to October.
Second.
And Scott seconded.
Okay. Is that it for financial issues?
It is.
Yes.
Okay.
I guess I'm up.
The director's report, right.
Okay. So there's still Google Hangouts with the director, and Mid-York did actually purchase so they could continue to record. We were at the beginning of the month anyway, on September 10th, we were still doing the Mid-York holds exchanges with Rome, Utica, Kirkland, New Hartford, which was fun. It was fun to talk to the directors too. What are you doing? How you doing? All those kinds of things. Kim Rudwall and I did a practice session for the CLRC annual conference, which actually is held this Friday. And we received a Stickbot Innovation Grant last year. And so now we are going to, actually it was probably about a year and a half ago, and they're going to, she and McKenna did a little video, and it's basically like a PowerPoint or a Google, I don't know, what is it? Is that the one that's Google Sheets? Whatever the Google PowerPoint is, she did. And that will be this Friday. We continue to do the Tuesdays at 10 with CLRC, find out how people are doing. I don't attend as many because our doors are open. You know, right when we were trying to figure out how do we open, how do we get people, all that kind of stuff, I was very much going to those meetings a lot so that I could figure out how we would do it. But
Right.
now I didn't go to that one today. Joe DiTraglia is, he's an HR attorney that Mid-York uses, and I talked to him on September 15th about our personnel manual. It's a good manual, but it's been a while since it was updated, and we want him to go over that. So Shar and I are going to go through it initially and figure out the obvious things that we need to fix, star them or whatever, and then we're going to have him go through it with us, pay him to go through it with us so that we're not, I don't know, breaking any New York State laws or any of that kind of stuff. So we're going to tighten that up. Anybody wants to join us, that would be great too. But I think, well, obviously you'll see it before it's all done. You'll have the final say. So, and about that conversation, because I was part of the CLRC going through their personnel handbook and how they had gone through theirs. And so we're going over it, and I thought, well, we probably should go through ours. One of the Mid-York, we actually have 6 meetings a year that are the Directors Advisory Council meetings. We've been having Mid-York meetings on Wednesday, which are directors kind of getting together saying, okay, how are we doing? How's the COVID thing going? That sort of thing. But this was actually the The DAC meeting was September 16th. Another holds exchange, the CLRC Tuesdays Zoom meeting, another Google Hangout. I went to Lowe's to where the Razor Reader bags have been kind of in the back room or stuck on a shelf, and they've been circulating, whatever. But I thought we need to get them out where they seem, like respected, I guess. So we had a bookcase that we took the shelves out, and in the back, we used to keep a lot more magazines, like for multiple years. And now we just keep the current year. Because I thought, really? How many years back do people go? And there's funky shelves that you snap them in, and these have tubes on them. So we used shower curtain holder rings to hold the books up, because you can kind of snap those open. So now they can leak through a little bit, and they can be put in number order rather than kind of stuck on a shelf. So now it's kind of a classy way to look through these rather than the bargain basement way to look through those. So that was the Lowe's. I was doing a little research and looking into S hooks and different things, but we ended up with shower curtain hooks. Went to the bank, Adirondack Bank. Oh, we had a donation. I guess that's why I put it in here. We had a donation, and I talked to you about it actually last time. It was Professor Schaefer.
Yeah.
Didn't I? Yeah. Okay. So we actually put that money in the bank. I went to, there was a racism Zoom workshop, the Connecting Communities program hosted by Hamilton Employees Against Racism. So that is HERE is their acronym. And I went to that. And right after it, I went to Same Family, Different Colors, talking about colorism and skin color politics in the family, which was eye-opening for me because, your children look different, hair color's different, whatever. But this happened to be a conversation about, the mom was talking, and she said, we have a conversation about, can you pass for white and therefore you're safer? And it was just, what, you just don't think, I don't, because I haven't been forced to think that way about my children and bringing my children up in it. So because of recent events that we've had, even at the library, I'm trying to, every chance I get, inform myself more. And this is I think it's it's not a podcast because it's a video, but it's a conversation, and I'm not sure how often it comes up, but I think maybe once a month, because there is one coming up that Jamie's going to go to this month coming. And very well done.
Is this something that is kind of free to access? Like there's
Yes.
like after it's done, there's a URL, and if you happen to miss it, you can go to it.
It seems like it should be. I could look back at it. I know that you can. Why wouldn't you be able to? It seems like you should. It's not a webinar necessarily, as much as it seems to be this forum that you go to. I can try to go back, but it was just this, just a conversation with a panel of people. And I know that there is one coming up that I don't really remember the title of it, but these two happen like back to back. And there will be the racism Zoom workshop it's our community. So Hamilton College is doing it, but they joined together with Kirkland's Library and Utica Public Library. I think there might be a couple more libraries, but it's our local community.
It's more local.
Yeah. It is. And it was, in all honesty, the other one was, I guess it just hit me. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. We have those conversations, like I raised a boy and a girl, right? So you had those different gender issues. But the fact that you would have to have a conversation for the safety of your child more than another child just because of the color of their skin, it was just, I don't know. It just seemed to resonate with me a little bit more than some other ones. So, I'm not, later on in our agenda, the professional development day. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this too. But so moving on to just my normal things. We went, Dave Hayes, we did write the construction grant for a washer and dryer and the kitchen, but we're not doing the kitchen till January. But the washer and dryer we were able to do. So I went and purchased those. They've been installed already. I purchased those. It does just say Tuesday the 29th. I'll fix that. It should say September 29th. More Google Hangouts, the Community's Equity Initiative. So this is, again, this is with the Community Foundation, and they reference the racism workshops that will be going on. There'll be more of those coming up. I'm not sure if they're going to be a certain time or if it's just going to be as they pull a panel together. Christine and I met about the summer reading survey, and it's tricky because it's the first time you do these things. It's not hard to do, but it's a survey. So something that's designed for us isn't the same as what Brooklyn Public Library or Buffalo is going to do. We have one branch, we have one main library, and so they have branches, and so they ask a lot of different questions. So we kind of walked through that to see how it was. Okay, Jamie and I did a racism display. We've been purchasing quite a few to balance out our collection. And within that display, so obviously we have books and things, but we highlighted the Community Foundation's Equity Challenge, or it's something that I don't know if any of you've seen it. I can send it out. It had to do with, it's a pledge. So to go through and say, you know what, I'm behind this. So there is a pledge initiative throughout our whole community that they're trying to have people do. And so we highlighted that. Abdu training. So we have this, I guess you'd call it kind of like it's a swipe card. So our back door, our delivery door has been open. We could lock it, but then you have to have a key to open it, or you have to walk in the front door. You know what I did notice for those people who work there, I just have to hold up my wallet and it'll read it through the panel, so I don't even have to take it out. So it just allows us to lock our door because people just can walk right in, you know, especially when our doors were locked. They just walked in and said, oh, the other door was locked, so I came in this way. It's like, well, that was on purpose, but you know, whatever. So anyway, we have those swipe cards for everyone. The whole staff, if you work at the library, you have one of those. So that was, we did that on October 1st. We did our last exchange with the other large libraries on October 1st. And so now what's happening at Mid-York is if the books come to us in the delivery, they've been quarantined already for 6 days. So we can just pull them right out. And so that's been a process of trying to figure out what to do without quarantining things forever. Mm-hmm. And we're getting better. Christina and I met to review job duties because it's a little confusing what she's going to do that the children's librarian used to do. She's not picking up all of those duties, but what duties is it that she is going to be picking up? Which one is Kim going to do? Jamie's kind of in that mix, and who's going to be doing what. So we had a chat about that to try to solidify everything. Janae and I met to discuss the sexual harassment prevention training. That is, it's on Niche Academy, which is something Mid-York pays for. So it's a professional development portal. And I can, right now, full-time staff is going through it and getting that done. So we should, by Friday, be able to print our certificates. And then I thought, well, once all of those people know how to do it, it's not really hard. It's the same videos as before. It's virtually the same questions as before. They're just in these little quizzes. And I started it. I didn't get very far. I've only done quiz 1. So I got to buckle down by the end of Friday. I have to get it done because that's the deadline I created. And then I should also pass it up to you. I think that it's just as easy to go through. It's not hard. It's common sense. So I will send it out to you guys too, because you'll have to give me a certificate each year. So we'll get that done soon. Another Wednesday meeting, and the CLRC Executive Committee Zoom meeting I went to last Wednesday. I'm very happy to say that on Friday, we're going to do the StickBot presentation, but the last executive board meeting is Thursday, is in a few days from now, that I'll be, it's been wonderful to know all that CLRC does and the grants that were available, but it seemed to be more time consuming than I thought. But, we all have to, it's kind of like jury duty. We all have to do our time, right, for the good of the organization and country and all. Okay, that concludes my director's report.
Okay, do we have old business?
I don't think so. Well, maybe. What I did is the board statement of on racism, I guess, or being equitable, is on the webpage main page. So if you go there, it's going to be one of those that you can just push and it'll move along, and it'll also say, like, there's a board meeting tonight. It's where that we said that there's a blood drive, those kinds of things. So maybe we'll leave it up there for a month or so, and then we would put it where the board stuff is.
Sure.
Where board
Yeah,
members.
I appreciate seeing that was up there as of yesterday. So,
It should have been up a little sooner. Really, it should have. I was kind of, I knew we approved it, but then I was kind of like, does it have to be approved in the minutes? We get so far behind with everything. But at the very least, it was approved. The minutes were approved tonight. So it was part of that whole package. But it could have been up a few weeks ago for sure, because you had approved it at the last meeting. So I think that's a good spot. I had Dennis retype it. I think it's this exact same. I didn't double check. I said it has to be retyped. I don't think he changed it. I think he just retyped it.
No, it did seem consistent.
Okay, good. All right. So that's the old business and where it is. I don't know if we have to necessarily say that. Okay. I have, sorry, Sue.
New business? Go ahead.
Okay. We have, I think since I started, we have, if we would possibly, for any reason, override the tax cap, we've approved the possibility in October. So we don't have to go over the tax cap come May if we choose not to, but we've always done this tax cap override resolution just in case. So I prepared it for
Didn't
you.
we already do that?
You do it every year.
No, I mean already this year.
No, well, we usually do it in October. So
okay.
Last year,
Doing it for the next budget, correct?
Right. You do it for the next budget.
So this is for the future.
Correct. So I guess I would like a motion for that. Let's read. What it says basically is if our budget that we put forth is beyond the tax cap, we have already voted to do so, and it's the last paragraph. Now, therefore, to be resolved that on October 8th, sad. This should say 2020, not 2019. Maybe the one I sent to you was that, but this isn't. Okay. On October 2020, the Board of Trustees of Dunham Public Library voted and approved to exceed the tax levy limit for the 2020 by at least 60% of the budget oh goodness, I can't read today, by at least 60% of the Board of Trustees as required by state law. So if we were, according to general municipal law, it started in 2011, that if we were going to put forth a budget vote or budget or tax levy that was more than whatever that formula is, we would have to do a tax cap override prior to that.
Okay.
And
So
we put
that-
it in,
So that's what we need to vote on, that we can override the tax levy limit. Is that
yes.
right? Is that the right wording?
Well, actually, I think just saying the tax cap override resolution for 2021,
Okay.
I think that's what we've done in the past. I guess I should have looked at the minutes for that, how we phrased it. But
Okay, so do we have a motion to
I'll move. I'll move to override the tax cap.
And
if
I will
needed, it's
second
kind
it.
of if needed.
If needed.
If needed is what it says. It's
If needed.
if we need to, we would have already done, because I have to submit this paperwork to a New York State database
Right,
that says that it was approved or not.
right.
Okay.
So do we have a motion to approve it?
I think Susanna,
I
Yes.
move to do it.
Okay,
And I second it.
okay.
got, and I will obviously change the wording. So if when you received it, it said 2019 instead of 2020.
It's to 2020.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right. And then the professional development day, we usually do one in January, and we're also proposing to do one in January. Again, we don't have to do the basic life support because it's every 2 years. But Jamie went to, in the summer, she went to see Patrick Johnson, and she's been talking about it and said he was very good. And he did an anti-racism workshop. He's from the Utica area. He usually charges $2,500, but for a nonprofit, he will charge $1,000, which we've never done that before. But we also, our professional development expenses, because we haven't traveled anywhere, and
Right.
we're going to go to NYLA. We have 4 people going to NYLA, but it's only a registration fee. There's no food, there's no lodging, there's no any travel or any of that. We're still going to be under. And I think she just said that the way he presents it, I mean, these are the facts. It's not, she thought it was an excellent workshop, and she's brought it up to me like 3 or 4 times and says, I really think this would be valuable for our staff. And I said, okay, why don't we do it?
He's
So-
been doing that kind of thing for a long time. He was working with the Utica schools, and those of us who were doing staff development would work with him. And
Awesome.
so,
I've
yeah.
never worked with him that I know of. So I guess I would like to, I'm a professional development, it's budgeted, and we have funding for that. So I don't necessarily think we have to vote
Yeah,
to do
I
that.
don't know what his title was then. I think he was community liaison for the schools,
Okay.
but he helped us set up programs for Proctor.
Perfect. So
So
I
you
would,
really don't need anything from us. You've
I
got.
think what I need is to approve that professional development day. We would take one day in January. I'm thinking it might be a Wednesday, and it's probably not going to be the week of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, because we're already, of course, we're probably open that day anyway.
Yeah,
So it doesn't matter. I was thinking we want to do it on a week we aren't closed. And I don't think we are closed. We acknowledge the holiday, and some of us get it that day and some get it whenever it works out.
Yeah.
That they take the day. So one day in January, I'd like to take, basically, how about we vote on a January professional development day that the library is closed.
Right. All right. So I will move that the library will hold a staff development day in January, and the library will be closed for the day. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
Do
I
we
don't
have
have
anything
announcement.
else? Announcements, communications?
Mm-mm.
There's no public?
No.
There's no executive session that I know of. Anybody else?
I don't know whether this would go under communications, but I'm just wondering, April, as far as some of these workshops from here and the other kinds of webinars that you had available, are there possibilities or options to make connecting to these available to the patrons of the library? We're just like letting them know, FYI, this is a workshop that is going on. Here's what you would need to do to register and attend. Because I know a lot of virtual workshops and webinars, because you don't have these physical limitations, there's not really a hard participant cap on them. And so if they're free, it sounds like not only are these kinds of good things for staff members to be involved in, but it might be good to simply make the community aware of. And so any of our patrons that were interested in attending these kinds of workshops could potentially do that through the Dunham website.
Yes. Yes, in that we can promote them through Facebook. And I was talking to Dennis this week because I do get that stuff, right? You get this, oh, this is going on. And I said, is it possible to have a community bulletin board on the website, right? Because we stick
yeah.
stuff all over the physical one, right? Oh, this is going on. You put a push pin in it, but not as many people are walking by. So we are talking about that. He reached out to Marshall. There's plugins or whatever. But yes, as far as like say a list of things that are going on in the community, obviously the Community Foundation is trying to get some of these workshops out, but other ones are just that were, oh my goodness, so much. It's good. It's good that so much is going on. I mean, I went to something on magical realism, which I didn't put in here, but it was some from Columbia University. I mean, I'm not going to go to a lecture at Columbia. How amazing is that? So yes, and we have to try to figure out how we're going to get that out. I mean, we did, as far as the Community Foundation one and the Hamilton, the Here's H-E-A-R group, and how their workshops, and so we're fumbling through getting those things out. They are on library web pages and stuff, but we do need to push them out better with Facebook, and they probably have been a little bit. There are a lot of times we're part of all kinds of things. Ingram, we order a lot of books through them. Book links, library journal, school library journal. So those are how we're getting them. These informative, there's a webinar out there kind of thing. And we do, we get them in our email 4 times, right? We'll get them from New York. We'll get them from CLRC. We'll get them from each other because we've been, and I think, oh my gosh, email overload. But you're not getting it. We need to figure out how to get it out even more, and we will. But I did have that conversation with Dennis just this week, and maybe just a listing of So these are what's going on this week. And we'll just kind of
Mhm.
cut and paste and stick them in there. And then it'll just keep going. And then maybe under, parenting ones a little bit, or
Yeah, I think that would
maybe
be,
not
I
organize it.
think that's always been a valuable aspect of the library's role. And yeah, there's always so much in the way of physical flyers in the foyer of the
Right.
library,
Yeah.
which
And
is like, it's a lot that's not really working
it's
so
not.
well
I mean, it is a
now.
little. We have some, and again, that
Mhm.
you may have seen it in Dennis's report that there was last month. It had to do with like a staycation kind of
Mhm.
display, and there's a like horror haunted house kind of the theme of the Halloween scary thing going on, and the anti-racism on the other side. And so we're
Mhm.
trying to get things out there and the things that
Mhm.
correspond with it. Um, but
On a completely different note, um, I actually had an inquiry from someone in the community as to whether some of the ongoing programs like um, the yoga and Tai Chi that used to be held in the community room,
mhm.
someone was asking, "Hey, is there any way that those programs could still be done, but through like Zoom or this kind of video link that basically the same individuals that usually do those kinds of in-person activities could actually sort of broadcast them from the community room and allow people that were still interested in doing that, hey, same time, but a very different bat channel. You just tune into it
Yeah.
this way
We
and you
can.
can maybe
We
participate
haven't
in that.
yet. We've had tutors in the community room,
Mm-hmm,
but I know Rosemary is still sending out basically the lady who she used to bring up on the TV so that they would all work out together. She's been
mm-hmm,
sending those out. There is the Tai Chi person is kind of interested in coming back. So Mark set it up nicely. If we were going to have the board meeting,
mm-hmm,
we could have this type of thing, right?
mm-hmm.
That the main person set up, and they would, rather than sitting in front of the camera, they could do their Tai Chi. There's not necessarily a camera person following them around. So if they're
Right.
moving, it
So
might
yeah.
be different.
Well,
Chair
Uh-huh.
yoga,
some of the people at the gyms were doing that. I
were
mean,
they?
at
Mhm,
private gyms, were doing it for their own customers.
mhm,
Yes, but we haven't started it yet. We had we
mhm,
have TOPS, which is taking pounds off sensibly. They
mhm,
said, okay, when can we start to come in and weigh in, not necessarily sit all in a room and talk about what we're doing,
mhm,
but
mhm,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know we need to probably start, but we're
mhm.
also kind of wanting to stay open as we are. So we're being cautious.
And I get
I
that,
don't
and
know. It's
that's why
just,
I'm thinking about this sort of
I know.
virtual broadcast class rather than
We
having people
are,
come in.
we're hoping to use our book club as a guinea pig. I believe Janae is starting one. Mark, I don't know if you're involved in this or not, but I think she was going to try to be a little bit in the community room with at least herself, if not like maybe a few people she invites in, and then the rest would be in a situation like this. So I know that she's going to start doing something. And
We
then,
definitely have the hardware.
yes, we do. And I guess we could start soon. I just, my husband came home and told me about a Herkimer Elementary School. They closed down due to COVID. Oh, Patton's having some issues with COVID. Kirkland's having or Clinton is. So I just wanted to we had a staff member whose husband was in a work situation with somebody. And so we want to stay open. I think that's why we really haven't done much, but it doesn't mean, for example,
Understood.
obviously Danae's in our germ bubble, right? I mean, so if she starts or if our staff start, see how that goes. And then, or maybe say the person who wants to, we do know that there are some people that have, done their own thing with Zoom or whatever, and they're talking and doing their own thing. But I know we have a meditation lady who would like to do something. So maybe she could do meditation and the other people could join in. It's not the same. I know it's not the same, but maybe we'll start.
It's beats a blank.
I know, right? Okay. I heard you.
Okay.
I only have one comment about that. I said the same thing when I was talking to a library staff member earlier today, is that, yes, there has been one case in almost every school.
Yeah.
And sometimes two. Think about it. How many people are in school?
So many.
And there's one case. It's really not a big deal compared to what we were seeing.
What we were seeing.
Right.
It's unfortunate that there would be one case, but with all those people, especially kids, you really think those kids are staying 6 feet apart and keeping their mask on and their fingers on their mouth?
No. Actually, what I think they're doing is they're Billy's swapping masks with Johnny because he thinks Johnny's mask is cooler. So that's going on
and
in the elementary schools.
What do you suppose the teenagers are doing?
Oh gosh.
I don't even want to go there.
A number of things that have nothing to do with personal safety and et cetera, et cetera. And yet there's only one case or possibly two. I think we need to remember that.
Okay.
When we think about not being able to do things.
I think as long as people just keep doing what they need to be doing, just social distance as much as you can, keep wearing your masks, wash your damn hands, and it should
there really isn't any risk. Well, there's a little, but having an individual, like I'm here with my computer, technically someone who is presenting or facilitating a meeting from the community room using technology, that's one person. That certainly could start. I mean, that, you know what I mean? Like
that was what I was thinking.
Right.
I was thinking that some things like that might be, and it'll be an interesting way to, track library traffic and participation.
And it would gradually become a hybrid, type of thing. There'll be 2 or 3 people in the room. And then I think we're still going to have people at home for quite some time. And actually, I just think the snowbirds or whatever, you had people that would leave for 3 or 4 months and they can keep coming to book club. So it's kind of cool. So as much as it's annoying,
it's going to be a long winter.
It is. But
the more we can provide as far as things, over Zoom, or that at least it's better than not having anything available.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
All set.
So we're going to do better communicating some of the webinars that we know of, and we are going to start a few programs using our technology. which we have been talking about. I did talk about it today with some. Okay.
Okay, are
Thank
we
you.
ready to adjourn? I'll make a motion that we adjourn at 6:54.
I will second that motion.
Okay, Sue and Scott.
Okay. It was nice to see everybody.
It was.
Alex, we
Yeah.
didn't see you, but we heard you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
I'm here.
Charlene, you look fabulous.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so it'll stop
Mhm.
recording, I guess, as we all leave.
Okay,
Thank you
Good night, all.
and commitment
Good
for sure.
night.
Thanks. You're
Good
all
night.